Hey everyone, welcome to How to Write the Future podcast. I'm your host, Beth Barany, a creativity coach and science fiction and fantasy novelist, and I help writers with developing their stories, writing and editing their stories, and also publishing them and finding their readers. I offer this podcast to you to teach, support, coach, and share with you my passion for writing science fiction and fantasy. And I'm especially passionate about how can we use stories to support better tomorrows for all of us here on this beautiful blue marble of ours. All right, this is another episode in a series of Q&As that I have received from people. I offer a world-building workbook for fiction writers that I'll share with you at the end on how to get your hands on and to support you in your story and your writing. All right, so this question comes to me from Britt Freeman, and she asks me, she says, the biggest challenge is reining in all my ideas. I need to sift and separate some to include in one world and reserve others for another. Otherwise, things get too wacky to maintain continuity. I totally understand where you're coming from, Britt, in that I too have so many story ideas, I probably will never be able to handle them. So in your case, it's about sifting and separating them to be in different story worlds. I asked her, how is she handling this right now? Currently, and she's, I'm not really handling it other than writing out chunks at a time that she says that I'll play Dr. Frankenstein with later. Absolutely. This is so common. So I would encourage you to continue doing what you're doing, which is writing out your ideas and putting them in the right story worlds later. And she goes on to say, I've had so many ideas over the years, but don't ever get a single continuous plot line finished. Yeah, that is very common too. It took me years before I was able to get a plot line finished. So part of the challenge here is to not let the disorganization stop you and just keep going forward. But then Britt goes on to write, she says, lots of neurodivergence stuff hindering process. But what's working better now is that she has gotten into TRPGs, tabletop role-playing games, and also in world building and module writing tools that they use for plotting stories in general. So that's fabulous. And then she offers up a resource. This is so great. She offers the resource Scabbard. So if you've been having problems with world building and keeping things organized, you might want to check out Scabbard. She is not a fan of some of the other tools. She mentions Scrivener, she mentions Notion, but she really likes Scabbard. So I took a look at Scabbard and I was really impressed with all the world building tools that they had. I know there's other tools out there. I have a friend who's using World Anvil to keep her story world straight. So good job finding a tool that you really like. Now, something I would be curious about if you have multiple worlds and you're not sure where everything goes is I would ask the question, what distinguishes one story world from another? Or are they all connected, which is also really awesome. Do you need to think bigger? Do you need to think of a map that would encompass all of your story worlds and maybe they're all connected? Or are they truly distinct? And if they are distinct, what is the distinguishing factor? So I admit that I have 3 distinct story worlds that I'm working in. One is a science fiction world set in the future. One is a fantastical world that is set in an odd no man's land that my characters will be discovering that doesn't have any rules compared to where they come from. And I've written 3 books on where they come from. And then I have a contemporary world that has magical elements. So I am distinguishing my story worlds by time period. One is set in the future, one is like a far past, medieval-esque inspired, and one is contemporary with magical elements. So I would ask anybody having problems sorting through all their ideas is get very clear on the boundaries of your different story worlds. Or, Britt, in your case, maybe they're all connected. I don't know. All right, so I hope that helps. Britt, if you have any more questions, let me know. If you would like to engage in dialogue with me around your world building and come into our community, Fellowship of the Pen, and get your hands on the workbook, then I encourage you to go sign up for the World Building Workbook for Fiction Writer. The link is in the description for your world building workbook. Or you can just go to howtowritethefuture.com and sign up there. All right, that's it for this week. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. Please post your comments around world building and how you rein in all your ideas. I'd love to hear. That's it for this week, everyone. Write long and prosper.